Hey yo, welcome to another video. Hey, last month I made a video talking about whether I should lift my truck, level it, or just leave it alone. Well, after looking at the pros and cons and deciding what was best for my needs, I finally made a decision, moved forward, and I'll give you a clue. I didn't leave it alone. So let's jump in and explore what I did and what I think about it so far. Let's go. Hey, before I jump in, thank you for checking out another video. And of course, if you're new, welcome to the channel. Hit like and hit subscribe. It helps out the channel a ton, and I really appreciate it personally. Hey, so what did I decide to do? I decided not to just leave it alone. I wanted to do something, wanted to give it a little bit different look than it came stock. However, what I really was thinking about originally was doing a 3-2 lift, but in order to do that, I was gonna need to put on new wheels and new tires, and at this point, that's just not something I was willing to invest in. Because if I do that kind of a lift and leave the original wheels and tires on it, just wasn't going to look right? It was going to look a little bit funny, and it wasn't going to give it the overall look that I wanted to. So I decided to go with something kind of a little bit in between the two, right? And that's leveling it. So I did a 2-inch leveling kit. Look, I know it's not exactly 2 inches, right? I know that that's kind of what it's called, but it's not really what it actually is. Unfortunately, I didn't measure beforehand, so I am going to measure now, though, just to see kind of what the difference is between the front and the back. Again, the Tacoma comes a little bit tilted, so the front is lower than the back. So let's see what it did once I lifted that up, put that 2-inch lift on. Now, so you know, I decided not to do this myself. It's not actually very complicated just to put in spacers, which is really all I did. I didn't adjust anything else. It's just putting in spacers. It's not actually putting in or changing the overall suspension of the truck. I figured the TRD Offroad already has the Bilstein shocks on it, so why mess with it? Why do anything else at this point? Spacers are easy enough, but there is a fair amount of, you've got to take it off, put those spacers in, reassemble it, and then you're going to have to take it somewhere to get it aligned no matter what. So I figured, why not take it to my local shop? Cost me a few $100s. Wasn't all that bad though. They took care of it. It's warranted through them. They did the alignment, so everything's taken care of. So I decided to do a 2-inch leveling kit, lift it up in the front. Let's measure it and let's see what it looks like. All right. Hey, hopefully you can see under there, there's just a little bit of metal right underneath there. That's that spacer, which is really all that they're adding to it. Again, the goal is just to lift the front up to essentially level it. It's probably not going to be exactly level. Obviously, if you do it 2 inches, they say that the front is not quite 2 inches taller. So the front, or the back, excuse me, the front might be a little bit higher, but overall, I really like the look of it. It's given it just a little bit more aggressive of a stance. And I like that it's not dipping. You know, one of my biggest frustrations, I think, when I drove it before was anytime I would come to a stop, I would really feel it kind of nosedive or dip on me. And that's one of the things I wanted to get rid of, as well as just make it look just a little bit taller. All right, so check this out. You can see that silver spacer. It's really just been bolted right on top there. That's what's giving it that added lift to the overall truck. That really is what a leveling kit is. There's nothing that's been done to the back. It's just that piece in the front that's been added. Grabbed a tape measure. Let's go ahead and measure from the bottom of the wheel, really the bottom of the garage and the cement, up to the top. And we are looking at about 36 3/4. Now, when I measured the back the first time, I was getting about 36 1/2. So the difference is about 1/4 of an inch. I'm gonna actually pull it out of my garage and maybe measure it in a couple other places, because my garage isn't actually very level. I've noticed if I've done woodwork and other things, it's not very level. So I'm curious to see if it really is 1/4 inch taller in the front, which if it is, I'm okay with that. I just want to know what it really is when you're measuring the two sides. Let's go for a drive. So my question for you is, if you've done a leveling kit or if you've done a lift on your truck, comment and say what you did and if you're happy with it, or would you do something else now that you've done it, right? So did you do a lift? Did you do a leveling kit? And are you happy with it? Meaning that that's what you'd recommend to somebody else, or would you recommend something different based on your experience? I did pull my Tacoma out of my garage. I know that my garage is not very level. I've seen that in the past. So I went to a couple other spots to really measure from the ground to the bottom of that wheel hub, basically. And it does appear that the front is maybe 1/4 of an inch taller than the back is now. Now, it might be a bigger deal if I was going to load up the back, put a bed rack, put a tent or something like that on it that was really going to weigh down the back of it. But right now, I'm not planning on doing that. So I'm not worried about it being any worse than that. But, as far as a leveling kit goes, quote unquote, it definitely looks like the front is just a little bit taller than the back of the truck, just based on measuring from the ground to the top of that wheel well. I've talked about ride quality with this 2-inch leveling kit. For me, ride quality was definitely something that I wanted to make sure stayed as close to stock as possible. And I wasn't really sure, having this been my first Tacoma and my first truck, how much a 2-inch leveling kit was really going to do. I'd heard quite a bit about when you do lift kits and start changing wheels and tires, but I really hadn't seen a lot out there about what a leveling kit is going to do to ride quality. So that's one of the things that I wanted to test out for myself. So jumping straight to it, getting right to the punchline, ride quality for me has not changed at all. I have not noticed any difference in the ride quality. It didn't make it better, but it definitely didn't make it worse. And I don't have a problem with the Tacoma's ride quality in general. I know a lot of people do, but at the end of the day, it's a truck. I actually think even for someone who hasn't done a lot of off-roading, is really driving it around town as a daily driver, for me, the ride quality, it's been great. It's been just fine. It's been what I expected for driving a truck. I think it's got a good ride quality for a truck. It's not overly bouncy. It's not overly floaty. It's not overly rigid. It's got a pretty smooth ride for a truck, right? And I have not owned other trucks, but I've driven lots of trucks, right? I've borrowed trucks. I've got family that's got trucks. I've driven lots of trucks. And I actually think the Tacoma ride quality is pretty dang good. And doing this 2-inch leveling kit, it hasn't changed that at all. So if you're looking at doing a leveling kit, or you're considering it and ride quality is your concern, in my opinion, that's not something you need to worry about. Ride quality is just fine. If you're okay with the stock ride quality, doing just that 2-inch spacer in the front is not going to affect your ride quality at all. Overall, it's been a great mod because I've loved how it's made the truck look and it's kept the ride quality exactly the same. Anyway, thanks for checking out this video. Go ahead, hit like, hit subscribe, like right now, like, subscribe. Perfect. Appreciate you checking out the channel, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.